Reddit by Reddit recap. What's classy when you're rich, but trashy when you're poor? Debt. You owe the bank 10 grand. That's your problem. You owe the bank 10 million. That's the bank's problem. Florida. This might actually be the best answer. Apparently being drunk before 5 PM. If you're not worth multi-millions, my firm will make you leave and come back another day. If you are, we bring out champagne. We told a couple of potential investors to come back when sober, but 2 billionaires formerly from Microsoft that showed up to our office so drunk that they couldn't even speak straight were treated like gods. I get the feeling that was more of a love you and spite of arrangement. They weren't classy for being drunk. They were rich enough to earn the indulgence. If some billionaire comes into my office shit-faced to discuss ways I could skim a % or so off their billions every year, I'd be happy to talk to them, even open another bottle for them. Having a sports car at your house if you're rich is awesome. If you're poor you look like a meth dealer. Police escorts. Everybody passports. This the life that everybody asked for. Being named Duke or Earl. But nothing can stop the Duke of Earl. Having someone else watch your kids. Dressing badly. Selling feet pics on the internet. If I could, I would. Living on an estate. The area my parents live in is actually referred to as an estate by the town's residents. It's one of the most expensive streets to buy a house on in the UK too. Yet 5 minutes drive away is one of the rougher parts of the town, which is a council estate. There are worse places in the country to live as my hometown's crime rate is one of the lowest. But even so, it's a huge change from one part to another in just a few minutes. You couldn't get two more polar opposites. Consanguineous marriage. Okay when you are royalty but source of bad jokes if you're hillbilly or live in Kentucky. Government handouts. Some consider it trashy and lazy to go on welfare social assistance when you're poor, but it's okay to receive massive tax breaks bailouts as a multi-million-dollar corporation. Avoiding paying taxes. When the poor do it, it's tax evasion. When the rich do it, it's tax minimization. Eating weird meat paste on crackers. Wit, Fancy Feast is a respectable brand. Not having a job. Having an extremely long driveway. Having dozens of cars on your property. If you mow your lawn and find a car, you might be a redneck. Eating snails. And just kinda weird when you're middle class. Most classy trashy things are weird when you're middle class. Having too many cars. Why do you need so many? My family is fine with a minivan and a sedan. Why don't you get rid of the old, broken cars? Not cleaning your house. I couldn't stand to have somebody else intimately knowing my house and cleaning up my messes. Why don't you clean the place you spend most of your time in? Dressing very oddly. You aren't impressing the masses with your strange fashion statement. You're poor, but you can't afford a sense of fashion. Having a wedding at your house. Not cleaning your own house. This one is underappreciated. Your place is either dirty or you're paying someone. Apparently getting free stuff. Perfectly okay if you're rich actor actress getting $225,000 goodie bags at the Oscars. But you're a horrible individual if you're working poor getting the slightest assistance in any way. Day drinking. PFFT. Shelter at home safer at home equals drunker at home. Day drinking is so hot right now. I feel like people are consuming more than they'd ever admit during these times. 2. Sipping your drink, then spitting it in a bucket. Who does this? People at wine tastings, in big tasting events. For example, along winery tours, the tasters may have a chance to go through dozens of different types or brands of wine. And even though tasting pours are smaller than normal servings, they'd quickly and inevitably get drunk if they wasted none. A buzzword OFC tamper both with one's taste buds and with their ability to process those tastes. Going into rehab. Paying poor people to fight for your entertainment. Marrying your cousin. Incest equals the nobles gotta keep their bloodlines pure. Outdoor furniture. I feel like a lot of delicacies started when rich people ate gross poor food ironically. Oh, the proles have resorted to eating sea bugs. Gertrude. Could you imagine eating sea bugs? Lobster in the Northeast was once considered trash and was fed to prisoners. I forget how it became a delicacy. Drinking at work. So yeah, it's fine for a corporate exec to down a few highball glasses of scotch at a business meeting. But when my dad conceals his gin in a quaff in a bottle while sorting conveyor belt parts at a factory all day, he's trashy. Business drunk is just like rich drunk. Either way it's legal to drive. Spending exorbitant sums of money on alcohol. Sporting an outfit that costs more than the car you drive. Reusing upcycling things. Taking random shit and declaring it as art. Having more vehicles parked in front of the house than there are people the family. Having 10 kids. With 3 or 4 different people. Showering in your backyard. Being on a first name basis with a judge. Does Judge Judy count? Not rich nor poor, just went to high school with a judge's son. You know you're from a small town when you go to court. I was a witness in a bad accident, and the judge is your friend's dad. The court reporter is your friend's dad, and the bailiff is a deputy that you've known all your life because you've been in smock with his son. The only people in the courtroom I didn't personally know were the lawyers. Hunting human for sport. A gold tooth. Being really into wine. Living at a hotel. I've heard there's a very nice place in Schitt's Creek. Government handouts. Existing. Paying for sex and taking drugs. Las Vegas. Designer handbags. One of my ex-friends was like that. Always lived beyond her means kinda person. New car. Michael Kors Gucci handbags. Made just above minimum wage. Always bitched about not having money for essentials. It was so hard to hold my tongue during those conversations. Taking money from poor people. Smoking. Drugs. Getting money from the government. Rich people getting money from the government. Here's some subsidies, incentives, exemptions, tax cuts, concessions, bailouts, procurement, marvelous. Come back for more when you need. Kisses goodnight. Poor people. Duck ein Lazarus Moder Duckars, get your shit together so you don't ever need this again. Best comment of the day. Poor children believe in Santa Claus for longer, or in extreme poverty situations, are sometimes outright told he does not exist from the get-go. That's how my mom would keep me and my siblings believing in Santa. She would say how she could never afford those things. It had to be him. There was no other explanation. After all, I got the original way the Christmas it came out, back when everyone was flipping out trying to get it. She already had it on layaway. She had me believing well into middle school with that. I didn't drop the Santa thing until 6th or 7th grade, and when I heard people over the years talking about how Santa's fake at school with one another, I would just not comment and keep to myself. I remembered in 1st and 2nd grade there would always be kids around Christmas time yelling about how Santa wasn't real and that we were stupid because their parents had already told them that he wasn't real, so they wouldn't think they were automatically a bad kid and that Santa hated them. When I hit high school I stopped asking for significant Christmas presents. Furthermore, I would no longer get gaming consoles until at least a whole Christmas after, when they are at least $100 cheaper. My mom took notice when one year that I had only asked for one video game and demanded I ask for more things, and I added just 2 more games to the list to bring it to about $120 to $150 instead of $60 tops. Christmas or not, a couple $100 is an entire bill or two depending on what ones you talk about. I'm not exceptionally poor by any means, and I live an okay life, so I won't speak for those who are near or below the poverty line. But I do understand how the world runs so hard on money and how having more of it is directly linked to happiness, or at least being stress-free. The only people who say money can't buy happiness are people who don't realize what not having money does to your lifestyle as a whole.